Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to another episode of Victoria 2, Heart of Darkness. As we last left off, we were about to finish researching idealism, and we're sitting in number 7 of the Great Powers in a very good place. We just need to catch up on technology and start ravaging Asia. So let's begin. This year starts off poorly for Holstein, but once again, Europe doesn't really affect us that much. I'm going to go ahead and create some new units so that my army can just keep on growing. So when eventually I have to fight China, I will have a large modern army. And idealism just finished researching, so I'm going to switch over to ideological thought. Additional national focus will help us to increase our industry, and all that plurality will greatly increase the amount of research we gain each day. So it's certainly a good investment, and the cost modifier is starting to drop, so that's a plus as well. Looking at the newspaper, looks like artillery's dropped since the major powers have stopped going to war, and a crisis was avoided. Pretty much nothing super interesting as per usual, but it's always somewhat worth reading. You can also check. Doesn't look like we can build enough units over here to be worthwhile, but I want to eventually remove all of these irregular units and replace them with armies that I can just keep throughout the ages. Hey, and now our artisans can create small arms, which is what happens when something gets activated, and we can create small arms factories. Probably not a lot of money in it at the moment, but there's not a lot of money in most of this, except apparently fabrics making quite a bit. And we're just going to let capitalists take care of all this. There's no reason to build anything at the moment. I'm not very sure where the market demand is and all that. As you can see, tons of railroads are popping up all over the place, which is a nice boost to income. Once again, you can probably see. So I'm going to raise administration a little bit to make up for that additional cash we're making. We already have another unit being built. Look at that. On top of things, even before the game gets rolling. We have a truce until 1852 with Siam, so might have to go ahead and fight Atjeh. I have no idea. We have a truce with them too. It looks like they... Oh, of course, because of when we were invading Johor. So, for the moment, I guess we're just going to let infamy tick down. Eventually going to turn our eyes and try and invade Hawaii. In the meantime, I'm going to raise some influence on Da Nang, which is in Vietnam, just to try and make sure nobody else messes with them while I build towards invading them and taking them over. Same with Siam. Once they're done being truced with me. And I'm going to put a little bit towards Hawaii just to keep them out of the sphere of the U.S. If I can slow down their attack, then eventually I'll be able to invade them. Just so long as they aren't in the sphere, the U.S. won't come to attack to save them, and even if they try and intervene, I imagine they will accept a white peace. Yeah, the infamy's 10. We're going to let our infamy tick down below 15 before we do anything there. Just not worth the risk, after all. And this army's full, so let's ship them off to Korea so they can toe the line, so to speak. They can help to defend against the invading Chinese, or at least the threat of invasion by the Chinese. I'm going to delete this unit of irregulars and replace them with one more unit of hussars and infantry. Not through that screen, because it's pretty hard to know where I'm building those without knowing all these names. 2 hussars, and 1, 2, 3, 4 infantry. Another 18,000 men being trained. A nice little Japanese schools event. I can either slow down the research modifier a little bit, or I can gain consciousness. The additional assimilation rate's probably worth it, and the modifier is very low, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. The research points will make up for the large majority of it anyways. We're expected to finish this in June 1814. After that, we should be able to speed up our research speed. At the moment, we're just a bit behind, but because of the speed of westernization, we're not that far behind. And all of these inventions still have to show up too, which will be a nice little thing to break up the tedium of waiting for infamy to bleed off. Paper just was activated. I don't know how they were doing all the writing, and I don't know really how one can have philosophy without paper, but I'm not going to question it. Newspaper. I guess I shouldn't have jumped out of that very quickly. Just some news of us beating up the Siamese? Ah, yeah. And apparently we have Luang Prabang is our best friend. I don't even know where that is. I don't even know what that is. Ah, these guys. Pfft, they don't even want to accept anyways. It's because of our infamy. Whatever. We don't need allies. But in all seriousness, we might actually need some allies. Gonna go through and see if any any of these great powers will accept an alliance. Another nice quality of life upgrade in Heart of Darkness is that this little question mark, when you mouse over it, it will show you why another country will or will not accept anything you propose, which is nice instead of just like guessing. It's 80. Wow, everybody is minus 80. Nobody wants to be my friend. I mean, I am the only major power or great power in Asia, so I don't really have to worry. Except that the UK could start trying to mess with my colonial empire. And everybody's at minus 80, so I'm going to ignore them. Who needs allies anyways and all that. Ooh, Burma's looking very tempting. I might have to take them out with all that delicious, delicious opium. At some point, once I get a land bridge to them. And Netherlands won't even give me military access, so I can go right over to Atje. To the A land, as I'm going to call it from now on, so that I feel like less of an idiot. Dynam, there's not really anybody else that's trying to work here, so I'm just going to leave them at neutral. No reason to become friends with them. Just going to keep the other great powers away. U.S. isn't even trying in Hawaii, so I'm going to up that a little bit. Just bleed them off a little bit until I can take over. Once infamy drops down to 15, I'll start the justification. Looks like our army has finished again, so I'm going to ship them over to replace the irregulars that were disbanded. And now I have a relatively modern army in Korea. One last thing I'm going to do is build 8 artillery so that I can put 2 at each of these. And artillery tend to be, especially at later points in the timeline, they're a bit of a force multiplier. So for the moment anyways, I don't need a ton, but every little bit's nice. And artillery is pretty cheap at the moment, so might as well take advantage, I figure. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The most artillery ever seen in Asia. At least at this point. And our number of troops keeps on ticking up. Number of mobilizable reserves is very, very large at the moment. So if we do get invaded, we're pretty good to go. We can hold off even Great Britain for a while. Our industrial power is starting to shoot up, which is a big plus, seeing as how we just westernized. It's nice to see all of these, or it's nice to see us move up in the world. Kanto's starting to fill up. I may have to, well, I'm going to go ahead and shell out for the upgrade, but I am going to drop administration again because prices just because we don't really want to run out of money. And we're running a little low at the moment. There we go, another national focus. So I'm going to put that in Kanto to increase the number of capitalists. The more capitalists, the faster things will be built. I just really wish that we could get an interventionalism faction here. State capitalism raises the price of factories by a very large amount, 60%, which is just so much that we probably can't make a profit for a while. Well, as opposed to laissez-faire, which is 30%, so it doubles the cost, or the extra cost, basically, but without the extra input or anything like that. And then planned economy means I pay for it, and the additional throughput, but I don't want to have to micromanage all those things. Not because I'm lazy, but just because I have no idea what will work and what won't work, and it may end up making this industrial subsidies number just balloon if I try and take over. Well, looking at the newspaper, Prussia and Bavaria are at war. That's noteworthy. And the idea of a penal colony just showed up, but it's actually very noteworthy. Because they're also at war with Austria. They're trying to take back some land from Bavaria, and Austria came to the defense of Bavaria, it would appear. Again, we're not in Europe, doesn't really affect us, but it's always interesting to see anyways. And our artillery's starting to build up. Hey, and our first naval base was finished, so these units might just heal finally after decades of, well, about a decade of sitting under full strength. Survey says, yes, excellent. We now have the ability to fix our ships. Wow, that makes this sound like a really sad empire that we're so excited about that, but whatever, it's the little things. And as I forgot about technology, I should actually start researching something. Thankfully, the amount that I forgot about just gets built up so that once I start now, it will take care of itself, and any days that I missed will go towards this new research. I'm going to start with medicine. The extra pop growth will help us in the long run, despite the fact that we do have plenty of population. But once immigration starts hitting, we might have pops disappearing, so the pop growth will be nice to keep our factories in check. First bit of artillery has now shown up on the scene. Very happy about that. Now just waiting for the next set. Just going to move them over in sets of 6,000 men. No reason to cause more work than I have to by splitting them up again once they get to Korea. But China, I'm sure, has figured out this large build-up, and I might just have to take Manchuria here at some point. Although, it looks like we'd have to declare war directly against the Chinese Empire, so probably not worth it at this point, just because when we go to war, we want to do it for Vietnam and to take Southeast Asia before we really try and take mainland China. Looking at the newspaper, don't really care at all about Lübeck's relations, but someone got post-Napoleonic army doctrine, only like 35 years after Napoleon ceased to be important. Hooray for them. I hope they get a medal. Gonna raise tariffs by another couple percent, up to 10%. I forgot that I was meaning to aim at stock exchange, or I'll probably do the ad hoc money bill printing first, and then stock exchange. And then at that point, tax efficiency should be high enough not to worry about it. So I'll do market structure, which raises both the non-factory and the factory output throughout the country. So it's a pretty big deal. Alright. The artillery's building up, slowly modernizing my army, by which I mean adding artillery. That counts as modernizing. You heard it here first. And while those guys are moving over, let's check out these units. Yeah, they're regulars, and we still can't recruit any over here, so I'm probably going to at least replace this unit with 4 4 infantry, 2 hussars, and 2 artillery. So let's go ahead and do that. 1, 2 hussars, 1, 2 artillery, and 1, 2, 3, 4 infantry. More than enough units to completely overrun Siam forever. Which is, at least for the moment, the goal. And then eventually China, but Siam first. And money's still doing okay. It would be nice if some of these other factories got built, but it looks like they're slowly building up some more. Regular closer incoming. We have another. Oh, well, that was the upgrade that I paid for in Kanto. But beggars can't be choosers. Really nice to be able to upgrade the one in Chubu, since it's actually making a little bit of money. I'm not sure why it's making money where the others are, and it doesn't have any dye or cotton, but maybe it's just the extra amount of capitalists is making the difference. Somebody must have gone to war. Or perhaps it's the... Oh, yep, it looks like the UK. Oh, and France and Austria. That's why artillery is suddenly at a premium. Not a lot of available artillery for us to buy, even at number 7 in the world, because 3 of the 6 ahead of us are all buying up the artillery that they can get, or buying up all the artillery they can get. Some nice anti-consciousness and organization regain rate. Can't complain about those in any way. And our infamy's starting to get low. We'll hit Hawaii here soon. Or maybe it might be worthwhile just to go ahead and take out a country, but we'll see once we get low enough infamy which way we want to go with it. For the moment, just going to replace the 1's unit in Johor, or what was previously known as Johor. Post-Napoleonic army doctrine. Again, a little bit later than you would think post-Napoleonic things would happen, but the extra defense is nothing to scoff at. Especially this early in the game where all the stats are low, every extra bit helps. We have enough money, so I'm going to upgrade this factory as well. Looks like Kanto is going to finish up just in time to not have too many unemployed. People are flocking to these factories. I couldn't be happier with how this is working out at the moment. For this army, I'm going to just delete the 2 cavalry and replace them with 2 hussars and 2 artillery. So I'm going to delete those for now. No reason to pay for them if I'm just going to let them disappear. And now we're just waiting for these last 6,000 men, and we'll move them over into the what may soon be front lines. More news. Some Danish writer. Alright, that's kind of cool. Comedic opera sounds interesting, if a bit of a misnomer. And it looks like the UK is taking something in what I assume is India? Yep, they are taking all sorts of India. Well, that sucks for us, but as long as we don't have to fight them for a while, it shouldn't matter too much. I'm going to see who are my neighbors. Maybe I'll just try and put Netherlands in my sphere. Why not? I got nothing else to spend these influence points on. Some more plurality, which should jump up our research. Yep, just a little bit. Every little bit helps, speeding up the research of medicine. Then we're going to get some extra tax efficiency and basically work in the commerce for a little while, since all of these things are very nice. Now we can make explosives. Everyone beware, explosive Japan is coming. Hide your children, hide your wife, because we be blowing up everybody. And this one gives an extra 2% total, but not the administrative efficiency. So I'm going to go with ad hoc money bill printing, and then market structure will be next on the list. We are 8 months away from being below the 15 infamy, which is where I will planned to start justifying the war. Unless it's 11 is the max, in which case I might wait before it's 14. I'll have to check that. Aerial bacteria and antiseptic principle was discovered. Lowers army attrition, lowers the rate at which pops take damage. The military hospitals, plus to that, is a minus to the percentage of pops that, or the percentage of casualties that translate to pop damage, since it assumes that they're casualties but not deaths. And, of course, pop growth. And on top of that, egalitarianism, which raises, once again, our research rate. It was about 12 a couple years ago, and now it's about 14, so not a tiny increase by any means. It looks like we're fighting with the UK for control over the Netherlands right now. I don't really want it that much, so they can have it for the moment, but I'm going to keep on fighting them for it because I got nothing else to spend anything on. Our truce with Dynam. Oh wait, we never had a truce with Dynam. Duh. I should pay more attention to all these names. Another couple years on the one in Siam. And Hawaii is just looking very, well, wherever it is, Hawaii is looking very, very, very tempting. So, all 20,000 people might just get the shit invaded out of them. Yeah, it's 10%, or it's 10 infamy. I'll do it once we drop through. Even if a country is a lot more people and a lot greater population, it also might put me into conflict with the Netherlands, and more importantly, Hawaii gives us a nice base to colonize all of these little islands in the southern Pacific. Maybe even New Zealand if the UK ignores it for long enough. But for now, just going to move these new units over, which I was meaning to do a while back, but oh well. Everything's happening so fast. Going to build another couple of hussars and the 2 artillery to replace what was in the... replace the cavalry and then upgrade these 12,000 men here. And once they're all at 24,000, then I don't know, I just like to have them all grow at about the same rate, keep all my armies equal, that way if I have to move them around, I don't lose anything by switching them around. A political reform desire just increased 10%, which means that we might start having some movements here. Oh, well, there's already for public meetings, but presumably that will increase. I am completely okay if Upper House will vote for it to allow public meetings. It will lower immigration by increasing immigrant attraction, and well, political awareness does mean that they will want more freedoms, but if I turn out to be an HM government, I'm certainly okay with that. Constitutional monarchy, essentially. Oof. Expensive trying to build all of these. And I'm starting to have a little bit of debt, so I'm going to lower the spending on construction a little bit. And since I'm not currently at war, I might as well lower the spending on upkeep for units. That way, we can make a little bit of money. There's no need to keep them all at 100% all the time unless I'm expecting a war. Which at the moment, I'm really not. I don't expect anyone to try and challenge me. Oh, we've moved up to number 6 now. Excellent. Number 7 in industry, as that comes up very quickly. 7th in prestige, 6th in military. Everything's going quite nicely. Looks like Poland is trying to... No, Romania is looking for the international crisis. Oh, and that was quick. Austria has given up Romania. So that's a pretty big chunk of change and a lot of very good land that they just gave up. Wow. That's pretty big in the Austrian side. I guess it's because they just lost a war to Prussia. Presumably they lost that war since Prussia was in a position to... Yep, because they have Prussian Rhineland, so it looks like Bavaria did indeed lose that war, which probably hurt Austria. They dropped down to 7th instead. whereas Prussia's currently at second. No one's anywhere close to the UK at the moment, but once industry gets rolling, that might change. And an alliance of Prussia and France could probably topple the UK as well. Although it would not be pretty, that's for sure. Ugh. I really wish our research was going a little bit faster, just so that we could catch up and start building a real modern navy and all of that, but I guess we did just become westernized a few years ago. I can't rush things too much. And another newspaper, Fears of Hanover. I don't know why anyone would be afraid of them. They're tiny. Totalitarianism, traditionalism. My bad. Traditionalism lowers the consciousness and all non-colonial, which means they won't be demanding any sort of political reforms and that kind of thing. At least that's the hope. That's the idea. All of these factories are filling up pretty quickly. Looks like they're some of the other factories have... The plans to build some of these other factories have collapsed, unfortunately. Just really need that interventionalism, or to make some more money. Old Man in the Sea. I'm going to go ahead and just sell off all these fish. Nice little boost to our finances. Gonna have to de-automate it. Confirm that. And it should sell them off. Oh no, selling them, there we go. Boop, and sold them all off. So I'll let that automate again. I don't even know if we actually made any money from that, but someone did, and that's what's important. They're currently in high demand anyways, and considering how much fish we have, well, just looking up here, lots of fish being produced, so keeping it in high demand, might as well flesh it out now while there's still demand, so whoever gets the money, they will get more money than they would have otherwise. I'm going to raise construction up and drop these another. Naval units might as well stay at the minimum 30%. They're still not going to be at war. I really need these additional taxes, though. I'm starting to run a little bit low on money and not able to support that many more troops, so... And I can either curtail distribution of this Annals of Malay history, which will piss off the rich, or, well, no, make the rich more aware, or make the middle class more aware. The rich are pretty aware already, so can't hurt to give them a little more knowledge. Crisis set in motion. They're a little behind the times with this newspaper, but I suppose that'll happen. Oh, wait. Sets in motion and averted. Same group of guys. Looking pretty dour. That'll happen, though. And, hey, Romania's now free, so... Should be an interesting addition to European politics. We will watch with interest as we try and move to number 1. And our infamy has dropped, so let's go ahead and try and take Hawaii. Looks like they're in the midst of another rebellion, so if anything, I'll just be doing them a favor. Saving them from yet more rebels. Oh, did I... Pfft, that was dumb. I tried to move over the army when it wasn't fully finished. Someone else went bankrupt. Doesn't affect us in the slightest. Oof. I'm glad we waited. The CB was found very quickly. I hope it's worth 9 just for the little island of Hawaii. Probably will be. Atheism was invented, which, again, raises up our research points, so... More research is always good. There we go. Now we have the full army. Now we can move these over to upgrade these, or to reinforce these poor sobs over here. And January 1st, 1851, liberals gained a little bit. I think that's where I'm going to let off for today. We've moved up one more place in great power, and our industrializing is going quite well. We're setting up to invade Hawaii, and building up forces so that when the inevitable war with China happens, we will be on the winning side. So thank you for watching, and check back soon for more Victoria 2, Heart of Darkness.